Welcome to Nugget 289 with Steve and Dana Groman, and today we will be taking a look at an article in the Science News, October 8 and October 22 of 22. The article is called Donkeys Were Domesticated in Africa. The Animals Became Beasts of Burden 3,000 Years Before Horses. And we love burros and donkeys, and I thought I'd give you a few definitions before we get going with this article. An ass is a horse-like animal having long ears and a short mane. A burro is a donkey, and a donkey is a domesticated ass. So now we know. Let's now go to the article. From pulling Mesopotamian war chariots to grinding grain in the Middle Ages, donkeys have carried civilization on their backs for centuries. DNA has now revealed just how ancient humans' relationship with donkeys really is. The genetic instruction books of over 200 donkeys from countries around the world show that these beasts of burden were domesticated in one fell swoop about 7,000 years ago in East Africa, researchers report. Now we know that the cradle of civilization is over in that region, but we know the 7,000 years is a bit off, but it's a lot closer than some millions of years that they would have mentioned with some other animals. The history of the donkey has puzzled scientists for years, says Ludovic Orlando, a molecular archaeologist at the Center for Anthropobiology and Genomics of Toulouse in France. That was a mouthful. This discovery shows that donkeys were domesticated roughly 3,000 years before horses. In 2021, Orlando and colleagues tracked the domestication of horses to what's now southwestern Russia over 4,200 years ago. But the history of donkeys had remained murky. We love seeing the donkeys out west. We see them in Arizona and Nevada and California. Today, donkeys are found in Asia and Africa. Dwindling numbers of wild asses, the closest wild relative of donkeys, pointed toward one of those continents as the likely donkey homeland. Archaeological evidence included a 5,000-year-old Egyptian tablet depicting marching asses, zeroed in on Africa as the most probable contender, but genetic studies have been inconclusive. I know that when we have gone out to Death Valley, that we learned that a lot of the miners, they used these donkeys, burros, as pack mules because they were just dependable and were great beasts of burden. The burros that you see today out in that region are descendants of those miners' burros, and that just makes it all kind of special, at least to me. This was probably because scientists lacked donkey DNA from many regions of the world, Orlando says. You just never have enough donkey DNA around, do you? So he and colleagues gathered 207 genomes from donkeys living in 31 countries, ranging from Brazil to China, along with DNA from 31 donkeys that lived between about 4,000 and 100 years ago. I wonder if they went to California to get any donkey DNA. By comparing the genomes with those of wild asses, the team traced the lineage of all donkeys to a single domestication event in East Africa around 5000 BC. I found that very interesting because we know that 2 of everything and 7 of the clean animals were on Noah's Ark. Some horse-like animal were all we would get donkeys and burros, mules, all those other different variations of horses would have come from the horses that were on Noah's Ark, and we know that that was around 4,400 years ago. So again, the dates are fairly close. From there, donkeys spread across Africa and into Europe, Asia, and elsewhere. Yes, they did. They spread across just like people did because God told them to scatter. And that's why we have the Tower of Babel when Nimrod had everyone congregate back together. That is not what God had said. He had told them to spread across the earth and to multiply and replenish the earth. They disobeyed God, and we know where that got them. But the animals did spread across to the different continents as they were told by God. The findings add clarity to the story of donkey domestication, says livestock geneticist Emily Clark of the University of Edinburgh. Still, it's unclear why people in Africa tamed wild asses in the first place. Why? Wouldn't they use them as beasts of burden just like we would today, or how they did in Death Valley or anywhere else? The timing of donkeys spread across eastern Africa coincides with a drying out period in the Sahara, Orlando says. Could there be a drying out after the flood? I think probably so. Donkeys could have helped move goods across the increasingly arid terrain, he suggests. It is very interesting to be able to read these articles through the worldview taught by the Bible and by strict creation. I hope you enjoy these photographs of burros and donkeys that we have come across out west and this video. And these famous burros If you appreciate our content, tell others and repost on your social platforms. Thank you.